You are tired. Not the tired that comes after a day of hard work. That tired is honest, and it leaves after a good night's sleep. I am talking about the other tired, the one you wake up with, the one that is already sitting on your chest before your feet touch the floor, the one that follows you through days when you did almost nothing, and gets heavier by evening even though you cannot name a single thing that should have drained you. You have told people about it, and they said, well, you're getting older. You have maybe told a doctor about it, and the tests came back fine, and the doctor said the same thing in more expensive words. And so you accepted it. You filed it under age, and you carry it every day like weather that never changes. I am here to tell you that you filed it wrong, because there are two kinds of tired, and only one of them comes from the body. The other one, the one that sleep cannot fix, the one that rest does not touch, the one that sits on you for no reason you can name, that one is not a condition. It is a message. It is one of the loudest warnings a human being can receive. And today I am going to tell you what it is warning you about. Because I carried that tiredness myself for years, and I called it age, and I was wrong. And the day I finally understood what it actually was, everything began to change. First, let me be clear about one thing, because I am an elder, not a doctor. Unexplained exhaustion should be checked by a doctor. There are conditions of the body, the heart, the blood, the thyroid, that speak first through tiredness. And I have made a whole teaching about never ignoring what the body says after 60. So if you have not been checked, get checked. But this teaching today is for the millions of you who did get checked, who sat in the office and heard the words, "Everything looks fine," and walked out with the same exhaustion you walked in with, plus a new loneliness, because now even the tests say nothing is wrong, and yet something is wrong. You know something is wrong. You feel it every single morning. This teaching is for you, because the tests measure the body, and your tiredness is not living in your body. It is living somewhere the machines have never once looked. My grandmother had a name for this kind of exhaustion. She called it the leaking spirit. She said a person is like a vessel that fills with life force in the night, in rest, in quiet, in prayer, in sleep. And in the morning the vessel should be full. That is the design. But, she said, some people walk around with cracks in their vessel, and no matter how much pours in at night, it leaks out through the cracks all day, sometimes faster than it can fill. And a person with a cracked vessel can sleep 10 hours and wake up empty. Because the problem was never how much was poured in. The problem is where it is leaking out. And she said something I want you to hold on to for the rest of this teaching. She said, tiredness that has no reason always has a reason. It is just not a reason you can see by looking at the body. You find it by looking at the life. Where is the crack? Where is the leak? What in this person's days is drinking their strength without their permission? That is the question. Not why am I so tired, but what is drinking me? I want to tell you about my own years of the leaking spirit, because I promised you at the start that I carried this myself. It was in my early 60s, and on paper, nothing was wrong. My health was decent, my days were calm, and I was exhausted every single morning of my life. I would sleep a full night and wake up feeling like I had carried stones in my dreams. I blamed my age, I blamed my mattress, I blamed the seasons. And meanwhile, here is what was actually true about my life in those years, and I could not see any of it. I was carrying a broken relationship with someone I loved, unaddressed, year after year, telling myself it was handled because I never spoke of it. I had two people in my regular life who emptied me every time we met, and I kept meeting them out of loyalty to who they had been decades earlier. And my days had gone hollow. I had stopped walking the land. I had stopped making things. My hands had nothing to do, and my mornings had no ceremony, and I filled the empty spaces with noise. And I stood in front of doctors saying, "Why am I so tired?" And the doctors looked at my blood and my heart, and my blood and my heart were fine, because my blood and my heart were not the ones doing the leaking. It took an old friend, a man older than me, to sit across from me one afternoon, listen to me complain about my exhaustion, and say the sentence that turned me around. He said, "You are not tired from what you are doing. You are tired from what you are carrying." And I want you to sit with that sentence the way I had to. You are not tired from what you are doing. You are tired from what you are carrying. Most of you could reduce your doing by half and it would not touch your tiredness, because the doing was never the drain. The carrying is the drain. And the rest of this teaching is about what, exactly, you have been carrying, and how to finally set it down. That old friend did one more thing for me that day, and I want to pass it to you because it became my method. He took a piece of paper, and he drew a circle, and he said, "This is your vessel. Now be honest with me, and we are going to find the cracks." And he asked me questions. Who in your life leaves you emptier than they found you? What conversation have you been avoiding for years? What did you stop doing that used to fill you? What are you pretending about? Simple questions, terrible questions. And with every honest answer, he drew a small crack on the circle. And when we were done, I sat there looking at a drawing of my own vessel with 7 cracks in it. And for the first time in years, my exhaustion made complete sense. There was no mystery. There had never been a mystery. There was a man sleeping 8 hours a night and leaking through 7 cracks all day. I keep that piece of paper to this day, and tonight I am going to be your old friend, and we are going to find your cracks together. Be honest as I go, because 1 or 2 of these are going to feel less like information and more like being caught. Before I share the next teaching, I need to tell you something. I am not going to be here forever, and most of what I know was never written anywhere. So I sat down and I wrote it, all of it. 20 teachings, 4 parts, in the order they were meant to be received. The ones about finding the leaks that drain a person's spirit. The ones about sealing the vessel and getting your strength back. The ones I have never said on camera. It is called The Native Way, and it costs less than 1 dinner you will not remember. Scan the code on your screen or look in the comments. But do not leave yet. Because the leaks I am about to name are the exact ones I found in my own life. And the first one is the biggest thief of them all. The first crack is unfinished emotional business. This is the largest leak in most people over 60, and it is completely invisible. Understand something about how a human being works. Every unresolved thing in your life, every grudge you still carry, every conversation you never had, every grief you never fully grieved, every guilt you never set down, every worry you keep circling, all of it is running, right now, in the background, like machines left on in rooms you never enter. You do not think about them all the time, but some part of you is holding every single one of them, every hour of every day. Holding takes strength. Nobody tells you that. Carrying a grudge is carrying. Avoiding a grief is a full-time job. Rehearsing an old argument at 2 in the morning is labor, as real as digging. And you have been doing that labor for years, maybe for decades, on top of your visible life. So when you wake up tired for no reason, understand there is a reason. You are working a night shift you never applied for. Your body rested, your spirit worked until dawn, holding the doors shut on 20 rooms full of unfinished business. That is not age. That is load. And load, unlike age, can be set down. I watched a woman prove this in a way I will never forget. She was 72, and she had been tired, the unexplained kind, for as long as anyone could remember. And she had a brother she had not spoken to in 19 years, and she never spoke of him, and she would have told you, if you asked, that it did not bother her anymore. Ancient history, she called it. Closed. And then the brother got sick, and something made her go after 19 years, and they had one long afternoon together before the end. Tears, words, all the machines in all the locked rooms finally switched off in a single day. And here is the part I want you to hear. At the funeral, people kept telling her how sorry they were, how hard this must be. And she told me privately, with guilt in her voice, that she felt something she could not admit to anyone. She felt light. Physically light. She said, "I slept that week like I have not slept in 20 years. I woke up with strength I forgot I had. I thought I was sick with something all these years. I was not sick. I was carrying my brother. 19 years of carrying a man she never saw, never called, never mentioned. The silence was not distance. The silence was labor. And the moment the labor ended, 20 years of tiredness lifted in a week. Now I am not telling you this so you wait for a funeral to set your load down. I am telling you the opposite. She could have had that lightness 19 years earlier, plus the brother. The load does not require a death to be set down. It requires a decision. Make the call. Write the letter. Say the words to the sky if the person is already gone, because the spirit does not need them to hear it. The spirit only needs you to finally say it. Every machine you switch off is strength returned to you by morning. I have watched it too many times to doubt it. The second crack is people. I have taught about this before, and I will keep teaching it because it keeps being true. There are people in your life who function like open drains. You know them by one simple test, and the test never fails. How do you feel 1 hour after being with them? Not during. During, you might feel useful, needed, entertained, even loved. 1 hour after. Some people leave you fuller than they found you, and some people leave you drained, scattered, heavy, vaguely bad about yourself in a way you cannot pin down. Your spirit does the arithmetic even when your loyalty refuses to. And if your week contains several visits or calls with draining people, then your vessel is being emptied on a schedule, week after week, year after year. And you call the result tiredness and blame your age. Your age is innocent. Check your calendar. The leak has a name and a phone number. The third crack is the life that does not fit anymore. This one is subtle and enormous. A person can be exhausted not by what they are doing, but by what they are pretending. Pretending takes more strength than any labor I know. Pretending the marriage is fine when it has gone silent. Pretending you are happy in the town, in the routine, in the role. Pretending you do not miss what you miss, want what you want, grieve what you grieve. Every day lived inside a life that no longer fits is a day of performance, and performance burns fuel at a terrible rate. My grandfather said, "Watch a man do heavy work that he loves, and he is tired at night and whole. Watch a man do light work that he hates, that he pretends to accept, and he is destroyed by noon." The weight was never the point. The falseness is the weight. If your tiredness is worst in the mornings, on the ordinary days, when nothing is wrong but nothing is right, ask yourself the frightening question: is my life still mine? Or am I performing a life that ended some years ago, and nobody, including me, has had the courage to announce it? Because a person can grieve a life that is still technically running. And carrying a dead life around, performing it daily, is the heaviest work there is. I need to say something gentle here, because I know some of you just felt that one land, and I know the fear that comes with it. Recognizing that your life does not fit does not mean you must burn it down. That is the modern all-or-nothing thinking, and it keeps people frozen, because if the only options are pretend or destroy, most people will pretend forever. The old way is different. The old way says, tell the truth first, act second, and act small. Tell the truth to yourself, out loud, alone if need be. This marriage has gone silent, and I am lonely inside it. This routine is a costume. I have been performing contentment for 6 years. Just the truth, spoken, changes the load. Because pretending to yourself is the most expensive pretending of all, and the moment you stop, one whole machine switches off, even before anything outside changes. And then, act small. One honest conversation, one thing reclaimed, one room of the life rearranged to fit the person you actually are now. The life that does not fit usually does not need replacing. It needs altering, the way you would alter a garment for a body that has changed. And the tiredness begins to lift not when the alterations are finished, but the day the pretending stops. I have seen exhaustion of 15 years begin to break in a single week, on nothing more than one person finally telling themselves the truth at their own kitchen table. The fourth crack is the absence of anything that feeds you. A vessel does not only leak, it also needs filling. And I have watched so many people over 60 whose days contain nothing, not one single thing, that pours strength back in. Look at an honest inventory of your day. Television does not fill you. It numbs you, and numbness is not rest, it is anesthesia, and you wake from it more tired than before. The news does not fill you. It empties you on purpose, for profit. I have taught about that. Errands do not fill you. Chores do not fill you. So a typical day goes, drain, drain, numb, drain, numb, sleep. And then you wonder why 8 hours of sleep cannot repair a day that contains 16 hours of subtraction and not 1 hour of addition. Sleep was never designed to be the only filling station. In the old way, the day itself was full of small refillings. The morning quiet, the touch of the land, the making of things with the hands, the laughter with people who leave you fuller, the ceremony, the song. Modern life stripped all the small refillings out and kept all the drains, and then handed you a pill for the exhaustion. You do not need a pill. You need refilling stations planted through your day like wells along a long road. Even 2 or 3 small ones change everything. 10 minutes outside with the morning. One thing made with your hands. One conversation with someone who feeds you. Small wells. But a traveler with wells along the road arrives alive, and a traveler without them does not arrive at all. So there is the warning, spelled out. The tiredness that has no reason is your spirit filing a report. It is telling you, something in this life is drinking me. Unfinished business is drinking me. Certain people are drinking me. A life I am pretending to live is drinking me. Days with no wells are drinking me. And the reason I call it a warning sign, and not just a discomfort, is because of what I have watched happen to the people who ignore the report for too long. The spirit does not file the report forever. After enough years, the leaking becomes the normal state. The vessel stops expecting to be full, and the person settles into a smallness that they call aging and is actually surrender. And then the body, which takes its orders from the spirit far more than the doctors admit, begins to follow it down. I have watched it too many times. The tiredness was never the disease. The tiredness was the last honest messenger, and the people who listened to the messenger, who went looking for their leaks with courage, who forgave the old business and pruned the draining people and told the truth about the life that did not fit and dug small wells into their ordinary days, those people came back. I have watched 75-year-olds come back to life so completely that their own children asked what medicine they were taking. The medicine was not medicine. The medicine was a sealed vessel. Yours can be sealed too. The cracks I named tonight, you already know which ones are yours. You knew while I was speaking. You felt the one that was yours the way you feel a hand on your shoulder. That feeling is where you start. Tomorrow. One crack. Begin. If what you heard today stayed with you, the book is there. The Native Way. 20 teachings, 100 pages, written the way I would speak to you if we were sitting together. Scan the QR code on the screen with your phone or find the link in the comments. Read one chapter. Sit with it. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, which crack did you recognize as yours the moment I named it? I read every comment, and if this is the kind of conversation you have been looking for, subscribe to this channel. We are not collecting viewers here. We are collecting people who remember. Come back next week. I am not done teaching yet.